In each mind, the level design complements the character's vibe. For example, if you were to take my mind, the creative one, there'd just be a room with a bunch of disparate ideas all fumbling about, only reaching some sense of clarity after meditation. Simple, but it's rare to see this attention to detail to these inner worlds. Sprinkled details include memory vaults, emotional baggage, and figments of the imagination.
すごい、野菜みたい。
卒業文集では将来についてこう書いてあります。何かになりたい。
You ever question why you feel unloved? Regardless of what you can do, it just doesn't really seem to matter when everyone else is loved, accepted, appreciated. Maybe that's still achievable, some slight flicker of hope, but as it stands, I became someone I never wanted to be, turning to extreme escapism to shut this pain up. By this point, you know what happened. And yet, without the escapism, what would I turn to amongst the sea of lies I let myself live out? Mob Psycho 100 reflected who I had become and the way forward from that person, with goals to reach along the way. The narrative, with all of Mob's opponents and internal struggles, created a sea of mirrors to learn and grow from, because anyone can be who they want to be. Mob has amazing psychic powers. It's the one thing he was encouraged to capitalize on by Reagan, with a paycheck and everything. As a result, he doesn't manifest any other good traits that would make him a well-rounded person. But that's okay. His only goal, buried deep inside, is far off in the distance. And he can let that go, forget that desire, and settle in his youth by joining the Telepathy Club, as his lack of defining traits make him a perfect slate to join the misguided club. Lucky for Mob, he decides to mull it over. I mean, he didn't really want to join the club, but their desperation made it seem important, so we needed to think about it. And on another job, something strikes him.
今一番やりたくないのはこの格好なんですけど。お、あれだ。
While being in an all-girls school, Mob lacks a masculine presence. His awkwardness and frail body make the disguise work. Plus, he can't read the girls he works with. He does the job successfully, which is to be expected at this point, but something else creeps in. The Scent Ghoul's actions came as a result of his regrets throughout his life. The other spirits have shown regret, only to haunt the living, but this time, a spirit reflects a struggle for the main character, even though it's a character who's barely even flirted with struggle in his life. The Scent Ghoul's perversion came from his lackluster life. He just went along as a loser, nervous around girls, only now trying to fulfill that longing through these self-serving acts, to the dismay of the girls just trying to live their lives. Hearing this, Mob realizes that if he wants to get his currently unobtainable goal, he's got to change, because psychic powers, while viable for his minimal pay, don't help him get there. Tsubomi adored his powers, but that adoration didn't last long, because she was attracted to qualities Mob lacked. If he wants to break free from his frailties, he'll have to push himself. The Body Improvement Club steps in at the perfect opportunity for Mob to let his emotions out just a little bit, and making progress towards fulfilling his youthful desire. Now that he's got a goal, Mob can struggle, and it beats out the easy way of life that he was begged to settle for. And it's this opportunity, this option, that I easily forgot in my life. I used to be an athletic kid, but as my creative demands grew larger and a medical condition advised me away from strain, exercise fell to the wayside. It was hard to see the benefits through the risks. I remember my athletic peak like it was yesterday. I was the fastest I had ever been. I was a decent soccer player and loved track. It was a miracle that I succeeded because I didn't practice too much, but when I was into the sport, it was magic. Despite coming up short, I exuded a strong charisma that gave me a leg up in life. I was a positive and significant person, rather than playing the loser role I somewhat grew out of. While that was years ago, it's not too late to get back on course. It's better to jump on this opportunity now than regret it later. Even those who are way older than me, like my dad or papa, still do their best to stay in shape. Through that, they give themselves peace of mind, leading to a happier, healthier life. Mob now exercises to reach his goal, but what if he wanted to be loved for his gift? Well, he tried this, and while it was just a passing fad, he had another reason for keeping his powers to himself. He didn't want to let his emotions explode, potentially hurting others in the process. While his psychic outbursts lead to victories more often than not, it doesn't make Mob proud of himself. It confirms that no one should see his horrid dark side. His fear may seem a bit too dramatic, until he's face to face with the leader of Black Vinegar Middle School, Teruki Hanazawa. Teru's got bravado, supported by his psychic powers, making him the king of the world, while everyone else plays second fiddle. Girls adore him, he aces his tests, he's a borderline professional athlete, and all of this gives him reason to assert his dominance over others, earning respect out of fear from his fellow thugs. Mob's adopted pacifistic virtue opposes this, but Teru forces him into a psychic duel. When he tries to get out of the fight, he expresses his views that, while simplistic, eventually move Teruki in the right direction. Both Mob and Teru are godly psychics, who relied on their powers throughout their lives. Except Teruki used his way more liberally throughout his life, because it worked up until this point. As a result, he accumulated less struggle than Mob, fooling his classmates into thinking he was some untouchable god, and that status got to his head. Realizing this, Mob tries knocking some sense into him with a simple what if. What if our powers were taken away? What would we have left? Afraid of this realization, Teru tried everything with his powers to show superiority, hoping that this spar with Mob would let him be better than the normal people and other espers, making him unstoppable. Somehow, through victory, his belittlement would be justified, but through Mob's resistance, Hanazawa's frail soul reveals itself. He does everything to go against change, because if he changed like Mob, he wouldn't be special anymore. As the fight goes on, his crown gets thrown off, And his gifts aren't as amazing as they were to his fellow students, losing his special guarantee in the face of pacifism. And this rejection of psychic might enrages Teru to the point where he forces Mob to give up on his values. In a way, I feel for Teruki. He had everything, and to watch it slowly sink from others, or your own decisions, it hurts. No one in their right mind would give it up, but I did. Love, acceptance, popularity, all vanished because of me. All the way to the end, Mob stayed true to his virtues, rather than giving in to the fight. He just didn't want to hurt someone he could relate to, no matter what he does. Despite his intentions, his dark side rose to the surface, running rampant once again from his unconscious. In the end, Mob failed. He hurt someone again. But while he didn't know it, his ideology and godly power taught Teru some valuable lessons. When the king of black vinegar is defeated, stripped down to his core, Mob's wisdom persists. No one is the best in the world, and they shouldn't be treated that way. Everyone's just average with equal value, but we should value improving ourselves. So, after Mob's outburst, he goes back with his club to make himself better than he was before. After this, Teruki does what he can to not feel special, just a better person. While yes, he still works on improving his psychic powers, they aren't used to make him superior again. Shigeo, despite his awkwardness, was able to change someone, spreading priceless wisdom from a weak-wage job. I feel Mob's ways sinking into me, and it's difficult to figure out where to even start. My solitude wasn't always this strong. I mean, I was never really accepted since then, so I just made do with being on my own a lot. But as I became more and more of an otaku, this seeping loneliness got worse as time went on. I have friends, but they're here just to indulge in more escapism. Is this way of life really worth living? Or how you'd live your life to the fullest? I had earned so much back then, and she loved me as well. The last time I had approved exercise was in 2018, and now I just sort of run here and there, with a good amount of walking. Back then, she was kind of a light at the end of the tunnel, whether it was grief or feeling unlovable. It's kind of poetic, but a poem that ends with me out in the cold. I feel like I've given up, but right before I made this choice, I was outside with my papa. He got me away from the computer to think clearly, which is something their house doesn't account for. It was a sweet gesture, but I was just thinking of how I justify being in this space. He wanted me to succeed with creativity, and as a successful businessman, he asked me, "Mark is doing what?" It was a hard question, but it makes sense now. With these ideas, I'm materializing abstraction, and because of that, my identity has some solid ground. Maybe a bit pretentious, but whatever. It's not like anyone will listen to me, and even if they heard me... And then, the summer concluded, and for once, I put myself in a higher level English class, which makes sense. I wrote essays for fun. We had a Socratic seminar, and while everyone else spoke their mind with some confidence, I could barely get a word in. Since then, I've got better at speaking my mind, but whenever I did, it would usually be met with strange looks, scoffs, and confusion. If I was lucky, people would be cool with it, but that wasn't common. I don't stack up to what others have, the attention, the friends, or the happiness. No matter what I think, or gifts I have, they're soon to be forgotten. I'm better than this, you know? I don't conform to them, and I shouldn't have to. I'm fine by myself. No one else is really going against the grain, striving for something more, because they're already content. They're happy. I just want to go back, where I deserve to live this life right. And yet, it's not so easy. Without fake love, my life could be a whole lot better. Hell, without it, I could be significant again. Despite his desire, he'd be met with challenges. In trying to make himself better, he'd be met with reality's plans. His condition worsened, needing more immediate action. Afterwards, he tried to truly leave, but a few things stood in his way. Ultimately, life presents limitations, and that creates conflict. So, I might as well address my elephant in the room. Despite how much I want to go back, I've got hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which in layman's terms means my septal wall is abnormally thick. This is the condition that got me out of regular exercise, and the risk has gotten so high that I need surgery to avoid a cardiac episode. Leading up to this, I haven't been at my best. I've been faltering academically, my creativity always seems to be on standby, and my best days are behind me. Whatever I've done before this won't matter, because despite my efforts, I haven't grown. I've only created flickers of what I could be, which won't lead to me being remembered fondly when all is said and done. At the moment, I'm weak. I barely have any of the strength I usually would. Hell, my backpack's now a sissy handbag. So, right now, I can't go back. All I can do is relax and start saying goodbye to my fake happiness, one chapter at a... Anyone can die at any time, but I'm stuck. For now, at least. Maybe the future ahead will be brighter, but there's no end in sight. I'm living my same ways again and again, hoping someday I'll claw my way out. But I've clung to these characters. They're a part of me. I just want to live the best reality I can possibly imagine. Unfortunately, this was not his only dance with death. As the days would go on, he'd find himself more and more in shambles. What would be a month of contentment became a month of mourning. Everyone's wanting me to become something great, something I hate. All I want is to be free, and each day I'm getting a bit closer, but I'm waking up to feelings long repressed. I've wasted myself away, becoming an obscure freak no one really loves, or, as far as I'm concerned, will love. Look at Papa. Everyone flocked towards his optimism, his attitude of helping others around him, living the Boy Scout code, although he never made it to Eagle, plus his love of classical music and the marching band. We all flocked to these qualities. That's why we're here, after all. I never really got to end on a good note with him. For as much as he wanted me to live my life successfully, our last visit, I just had a panic attack, and we didn't have a chat like we used to. Throughout the year, he'd become more soft-spoken and struggled to keep his body warm. Now, it's all coming to a head. He's in a hospital now, where I can make some promises, ones I don't know if he could hear. I'm not going to make it to where everyone's pushed me to. I'll share our love together, throughout my life, and maybe someday, I'll get the same joys you had in your youth. The world's changed a lot since then, but maybe there's still some good left. I just can't see the good with this bullshit in my way. You didn't make it either, and you still turned out fine in the end. Maybe I'm not opening doors. Maybe this is a mistake I'll regret for the rest of my life, but I have enough of them already. And so, I quit. I'm sick of chasing after what everyone thinks I have to obtain. I'd rather have what I want to obtain, materializing my abstraction to the best of my ability. No chains attached. I'll miss you, Papa, but I'll never forget these memories.
大事な部分を自分で選んで生きてさえいれば、僕の人生の主役は僕だから。
And so, he rid himself of his greatest opportunity. Filled with regret from the disapproval of those around him, he wanted an escape from it all. I guess I'm stuck here forever? I'm fighting to have something more? How much pain must I endure? If I feel nothing but pain I can't explain, where does hope lie? Or will it be another lie? Maybe, as these feelings wrap around my neck, it's my time to die. I can't take this away from me. I mean, it's all I have in this world. You've seen it. I want to overcome it, but there's nothing to move on to. There's no happy ending. Have you even lived this life of mine? I don't want to give up anymore, but it's taken up so much of my identity. Just get me out of here. Get me out of this. I've been like this for years now. Why did I ignore it all before? Why didn't I change? I could have been happier, healthier, all these things, rather than wasting my youth on stupid bullshit no one will care about. Oh sure, it's amazing what I do. Yeah, go say that while you actually have a life worth living. I just wanted love, but I couldn't let myself have it, because that would ruin everything. It would tear down more and more friendships of girls who wouldn't consider me attractive in the slightest, leading to rejections that would make me more worthless and confirm who I really am, which shouldn't need a definition by now. Maybe this is poetic and beautiful, but right now it's just painful. Oh, right. Happy holidays. I've got plans for a future, but what future is there when my world's falling apart? I don't want to eat, and the nights have become longer and longer as I lay lost in my own head. I've tried reaching out, but to people I shouldn't have trusted. And just like that, I'm widespread. Maybe I'm somebody again, but not out of admiration or respect. I hate hearing all of this, and yet, there could be somewhere to go. It's not what I'm used to, no. It's something long gone through time. I always wondered what happened between the two of us, and just wished that I could have been there for her more. But she's been back for a while, and if she cares, so will those around her. I've already lost so much, so if this goes wrong, maybe that'll be my end. And yet, people used to care about what I had to say. A little of that couldn't hurt now, and maybe I'll be treated like I matter.
And so, he let his repressed emotions out, for her and those around her, and the result was unexpected.
A simple act of kindness, a warm embrace, meant the world. I walked out of that room feeling like I could take on anything. And so, I reached out to those I thought were unreachable. I've been given this love, this joy. Might as well spread it. Make that widespread rather than the mockery surrounding me just a few hours before. I don't want to sleep, because I've finally made it, you know? My story matters, and I just gotta share it. Lucky for me, I've got new people who want to help me towards that goal, because they've reached it far before me. Apparently, it's a good move, but only time will tell. Whoever hears me, I won't know. Thanks, everyone. You know, I know what it's like to feel out in the cold, feeling like you don't matter to anyone, to be ignored, another scroll, another person to pass off. But when it should be the coldest, I don't feel that way. There's warmth from those who love you. And so, give some warmth to her. She deserves it. Happy holidays, Mark. You all tell me it's gonna be okay? Do you even get what's happening? Do you understand what I'm going through? You only seem to care when I went out of my way to make you care, and yet you still treat me like I'm a freak. If you'll continue to sweep the rug out from under me for your own amusement, they don't know what to do with me? I guess the end has finally come. In it, I let everyone down, because it didn't just magically work out. Everywhere I looked on my way out, I saw everyone in shock or disappointment, because I couldn't be the best person possible. I already felt guilty about Papa, and now this. I should have never done this to begin with. I shouldn't have gotten her involved in this mess. Everyone wants me to recover. For now, I can only wait. Maybe talk this out. But Papa's funeral is coming up soon. He lived his life to the fullest, and so should I. With some time, some help, I can return. But I've got to rebuild my life so I can come back better than before. Now, I've got a brand new start, and soon enough, a brand new decade will come with it. Through all of this suffering, there's a way out through living life. My glory can come once again. Consider it a well-deserved sequel. Just a few more weeks.
You'll be fine. without me now.
I'm free. Free of my lies. Free of agony. Because it doesn't matter anymore. For once, my reality is beautiful. Because someone else matters to me. If I had to say her name, here and now, what would that mean to you? Just another person. Just another girl.
This has been Monotamax.
And this has been Yasai. And no matter what you go through, love will make everything worth it. When I felt my life was coming to a close, the best of life all behind me, the best to come was there all along. I no longer need to drift along life's current, trying to prove myself, because my dreams will become a reality. I've learned, I've struggled, I've grown. Up and up, piece by piece. Farewell, my old ways. Through this hell, there's a lovely tomorrow, and you can bet she's a part of it. Knowing this, I can say something I feared, but that was long ago. I love you. Thank you for everything you've done. You're nothing but ash now, and I can't get you back, but I'm glad you were a part of my life. Your optimism is more useful than I thought. And I couldn't say anything. What the fuck is wrong with me? Why did I have to cause all this concern, this fear, this worry? Why couldn't I just assure her, of all people, that I was okay? Why can't I just make it already? Why do I have to see everyone else happy, succeeding where I fail? Am I just not good enough? Haven't I been through enough by this point? I failed at the one thing I was supposed to do, and I just couldn't do it. Every day, I see this opportunity, and I'm just paralyzed to take it. Like, just fucking man up! Something! Anything! You don't want to live like this forever, do you? You've had enough regrets. This shouldn't be another. I just want to get it out there.
頑張れ兄さん
And from there, everything fell into place. We walked together, talked more, and life was good to live in. The truth came out, and everything was okay. After everything, I just want to express my life, get back into the swing of things, realizing the ambition I misplaced. But now, the world's closing in. So, might as well get to some binging to collaborate and formulate my way forward with more collaboration. Because everything was worth it, and that hope for others can be something great. During this, we talked about our own stresses, and she had her relief. Running. Trying it again, everything that weighed me down was burned up, not to be seen again until I had to sit down and work through this creative arc. The finale, through these dark parts of life, seems more and more achievable. Just a few more months, and I'll make it. A collab, a way to show how I abandoned my ways, and a finale of my purest pain failing in the face of love. There's other ideas, but I've never been so excited by my own ambition. Of course, it's not going to be easy. There's storyboarding, gameplay, and writing with the boy himself, but it'll be worth it.
And so, his junior year had come to a close, and his biggest challenges were soon to come. His ambition was a wild beast he'd have to tame.
God, all this time on my hands, and I can barely do anything with it. All this grief keeps stacking up the more I delve into it creatively. Is this really my purpose? To shout out my life in a vain attempt at hope? All of this work should be worthwhile, but it's just deepening my past losses that shouldn't matter anymore. I don't even know if I like Xenoblade 2 that much, but I've just gotta make something of myself after all of that time. It's a long journey, and I have the vision for it, but I'm not the only one with doubt here. I'll be set on the right track by those around me. I'll have to answer to them. They want me to see it through to the end, because I've given up enough times. She'll understand. She's seen what I'm capable of. Despite what I gotta do, I don't know if my vices are conquerable. I've gotta push through it, because it's sabotaging everything. There are some days where I just don't want to wake up. I dream about my papa, only to wake up into this cruel world. I barely make it when I go to collab and write. And maybe that is work, but there's a cloud of fog, where I'm just not thinking right, or truly present to do what I want to do. Everyone around me is making strides, except me. Why do I have to keep stagnating, putting up a front of productivity, only to hide my failures again and again? I have to keep going out of my way to get people to pay me any attention. Even she only talks in response to what I say. I want to believe that people care about me, or I matter to them. But nothing's in support of that. Maybe this is my own doing for another summer. The only difference is what I've got. I'm surrounded by legitimate creatives, and despite how I seem, I'm a fraud. Nothing's going anywhere when it should be, and it's all my fault. All I see is that beautiful end I need, and yet none of the will to prove myself. I know I should push myself to the fullest and be satisfied, but these fragmented aspects of my creativity just don't mesh together. I just need animators. I just need a writer. I just need legitimate creatives. What have I become? I dragged my friend away from his purpose, his youth, just to fulfill my own desires. And for what? To help him grow? He saw through the awful truth of what I did. I just kept using him. Ever since we met, I couldn't help but admire him. But taking things in a business route has become my undoing. After quitting, it felt like he was the only one really keeping me in check, and I wasn't good for much else. He had his own path. I should have let him walk it. Now, all that's left is her. And this is the end result. I had no life. It only came alive in my past, but I was never living in the now. I can barely stand to live. But through this, something became incredibly clear. I need strong bonds again. I had friends, I just neglected them. I walked around to all the places that once meant something, only to be sickened by the change. There was a time when I wanted to take her on this journey with me, but I never got a first date. That's just how life is. Now, I run. Because after everything, Mob still ran. He still improved his body. Because it helped him grow into one of Shonen's best heroes. This pain is temporary, and soon, I'll look back at this, happy that I cared for me. I just had a near-death experience, and if that's the case, I wish I died with something good behind me. But because I was spared, I'm gonna get back up, make my next big splash. Hell, the script and ideas have been there for over a year, and I've chipped away at it. But now, there can be no turning back. I know the truth, but also how to overcome it. I'm no longer in a place of constant pity, or any other bullshit to hold me back. I can't bear to be a fraud anymore.
なぜ霊感商法に手を染めたのですか？
なぜって。
After starting my craft out of passion, I wanted to be something to the girls I loved, making projects with them in mind, or dreaming of getting romantic attention if I'd be the next big thing. But that never happened. I just kept repressing how I felt, putting on a mask that I was done with love, when I never even started. I ran away from it all, continuing a craft when I could have been dating. And then, I took YouTube to the next level, meeting him in the process. It was one of the factors, along with passion, that pushed me into taking this more seriously. At the time, he was still working things out, but I wanted to help him, to share my knowledge, but there reached a point where he just didn't need me anymore. I ignored the growth he had made, and held him back with a past standard. And his backbone made me realize where I need to go, what I can do myself, rather than being dependent on others who are special. Knowing everything, I doubt I can move forward. And now, I've lost my coping mechanism for a while. I don't know who knows what, and that's kind of terrifying. Because if she spreads me around in that light, I'm pretty sure that could be the end.
お前、知ってる？
何をですか？
俺の正体。ネットとか雑誌とか見てねえの？
そんなの知ってましたよ、最初から。僕の師匠の正体は。いいやつだ。
Even though the pity is over, the medical bills are pretty monumental. So, my family's setting up a GoFundMe, which could get some traction. Hopefully, they get something for all the craziness they've seen me go through.
And then, this happened.
事情は分かった。ちょっと待っててくれ。もしもし、実は。
And I'm widespread again. Not out of pity, nor fear, just care. This dude was there for me last time, but I didn't expect lightning to strike twice. The amount of people in my life that kindly gave something just still shocks me. And my new online presence has its own purpose. Follow those who donated, give thanks in the form of attention, reconnect with old friends and peers, and finally, make that comeback you've been aching over a year for. Afterwards, I'll overcome this pain, but that's a ways away.
No girl loves me in real life, but it's better to face that truth.
And so, his pain found its way into other avenues. In writing, she was nearly inescapable. Thematically, she found her way into everything. His pain was from her. His victories were away from her. His fears stemmed from her. His glory was from her. The light at the end of the tunnel was diffused with the truth. Hoping that liberation would come again, he put himself down, hoping it'd all work out.
謝りたかったんでしょ。だったらちゃんと伝えなきゃダメだよ。
Despite everything, I've reconnected. Some have heard my plight, others haven't. Ever since that episode, plenty of people wanted to get in touch, which granted was out of sympathy, but a connection's a connection, damn it. I should have lived like this since the start, but late is better than never. And yeah, I don't have a date, but with my friends, we're going to prom. Even with the pandemic, my final year of high school can end in a way that other seniors weren't so lucky with. All I have to do is wait. And that night still remains the highlight of my life so far. The reconnection, plus talking to new people, all of that work paid off. It felt like every 15 minutes there was a new person to meet or a relationship to deepen. I built myself up with everyone around me, becoming way more than just the moody outcast I was before. To top it off, she and I saw each other, greeted each other with a smile, and went on our merry ways to enjoy our well-deserved night. I didn't think I could ever do that, but somehow I did. I'll never forget this world shift, which became a great behemoth of supporting, caring people. I sought liberation from her, but I got it from everyone, and she was just a bonus.
政府は一連の事件を空想に取りつかれた犯罪集団による犯行と断定か。
And this is the heart of it all. With their gifts, Claw was built to believe they were better than the rest of the world, deserving anything they'd want. They were the exception. They were special, so they deserved more than the average person. Some of them even held on to past trauma, using it to justify their childish ways of holding up their superiority, rather than coming to terms with the truth. Despite who they try to appear to be, they aren't significant in society, and that gripe plagues nearly all its members. In Claw's escape, maybe they can get something, but their adversaries, and by extension society, have other ideas. To combat the entitlement, a simple but powerful motif runs throughout both Claw confrontations: gratitude. Bob's not only lucky for his gifts, but also his world and those around him. Reagan, the Body Improvement Club, his family and friends make his day-to-day life fantastic. Granted, it took a lot of work on Mob's part to reach that point, but to still have people around to support you, rather than leaving you in the dust, is a miracle all its own. In the end, it's the people around you that matter, rather than what you possess or what you're capable of. And yes, I felt entitled because I finally felt like I was a special somebody again, and that status would justify my actions to prove it. It didn't, plus it was all in my head. My childhood has been loveless, but this is only the beginning of my life. Plus, I'm an adult now. I've lived a good life, I just didn't get everything I wanted. And I'm partly to blame, but also, the world doesn't bend to my will. Just because of all these events, I'm not a superior person, but I matter to a good few people, and I'm glad they're in my life. Huh.
Action.